Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Shimmer Read. Today I'll be starting off with a brand new reading vlog. So before I get started, if you're new to this channel, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below as well as hit the notification bell. But I'm starting off strong with the magical readathon. So right now it is currently August 2nd. I was going to start this yesterday, but I was just feeling really down, like just recovering, because I went out for like a music festival on Sunday and it just took so much energy out of me. Like we didn't leave that late. I think we left at like 11 or so, but like it was an hour and a half drive to the venue, so it was an hour and a half drive back, and we tried to get food as well because I was like hungry since I haven't really eaten that day. So by the time we actually like got back home, it was like very late, like 1 something like that, and like we had work the next day, so I was just really tired. And I don't know, I just felt like yesterday was just a recovery day. I feel like I'm still kind of recovering from that day because it was just exhausting. Like I feel like I didn't even do a lot there, but like except for like, you know, standing and like dancing and stuff, but like I just feel like it was just a lot of energy that was like exuding out of me, and so like I'm just exhausted. Anyways, point is though, it's now August 2nd and I am reading. I decided to pick up The Passengers by John Mars as my first read for this video. So the way I'm going to format this video is I'm going to only read books that I pick for my magical readathon TBR. I will link that video above and down below in case you want to check that out, because I am reading other books this month as well. I have another vlog that I'm trying to do for my series vlog, as well as a bunch of other books that I have originally picked out for my August TBR, etc. So this video though is going to be really just focused on the magical readathon TBR. So the first book I picked up is this book over here. I'm about 60% of the way through. I'm listening on audiobook right now and I'm actually really enjoying it. In the beginning I was a little iffy because I felt like the first few chapters I was just confused. Like I felt like I was just thrown into everything, and it kind of threw me off. Couple that with just me recovering from yesterday, I was kind of like, am I in the mood to read this? I don't know if I can read this. But then it got to a point and I was like, actually I'm actually really invested now. So the book basically follows the fact that there are these self-driving cars that are apparently very, like, even though they sometimes make mistakes and stuff, they're never held accountable. And so there are these accidents that occur every once in a while, and for some reason the cars ourselves are always like deemed not guilty. And so the book kind of follows this situation where a hacker decides to hack this unhackable driving cars, and now there are a bunch of people who are held hostage, where originally they had these plans and now suddenly they have no control of the car that they're in, and they're being rerouted to an unknown destination. Not only that, but there is a voice that comes on and it tells them, aka the hacker, that after 2 hours or so, which is how long it takes them to go to this new destination, they will most likely be dead. So now everyone's like freaking out, and this whole thing is being live broadcasted online, social media, everything. And so the committee that basically judges and decides if the cars are responsible or if it's someone else responsible for these accidents are the ones who have to decide whose fate it is that, you know, basically decide like which person can survive. And every single person so far has been so like riveting with their stories and like how they want to be compelling to, you know, like, pick me, I want to be the one who survives. And the hacker is like, you need to be honest with me. So there's a bunch of people so far where they've mentioned something and like been honest, but then the hacker will be like, okay, but then please explain this, and they'll review this like shocking secret about them. And it's like, I don't know, everyone's reaction is like up and down. Everyone's like, save this person, save this person, save this one instead. Some people are like, don't save everyone, like kill them all, etc. And it's just a riveting book about like technology and like, I guess like the advances that we've made so far in society, but it's just a really fascinating book so far, and it's just riveting. Like there's so much about this book. Some of the passengers are a faded TV star, a pregnant young woman, a suicidal man, and not only that, but the TV star itself was like kind of hilarious because she's like this elderly lady who's basically like, you know, at this point age in life where she's just almost retired essentially, and up to like 50% of the way through she thought this whole thing was a joke. She kept thinking it was like a reality TV. She was like, I don't like this, can I not be part of this anymore, like let me just leave. And she kept thinking like, oh, it's so like special effects and blah blah blah. People were like, no, this is real, people are actually dying. And she like never like understood it until someone literally was like, you need to shut the fuck up and realize that this is actually happening and you're not like exonerated because of the fact that you're famous. And she was like, yeah, I I feel like I should be exonerated because I'm famous, and like, I don't know. Anyways, point is though, this book is fascinating and I can't wait to continue on the story. I'm going to try to read a bit more as I continue on with my work day. I still have like an hour and a half left of work, so I'm going to get on with that, listen to this a little bit more, and then yeah, like I'm really excited. I also have my like dance class tonight, so I'm excited to kind of see like how that goes. I've never had dance. I've never done dance in actually no, that's a lie. I've done ballet before, but I've never done like a hip-hop, it's like a K-pop dance class, and I'm kind of excited for it, but also kind of like intimidated, so we'll see how that goes. I might insert a few clips here and there, but like I really just want to like learn, so I don't know, I'm going with my friend and we're going to see like how this goes, and we're gonna get like Korean food after, so I'm pretty excited about that. But overall though, like this is going off a good start because I'm definitely in the mood for reading and cannot wait to continue on with this book. But yeah, this is my quick intro, not so quick intro I guess, and hopefully I get to finish all the books I want to read this time around. All right, so I just wanted to come and update you guys because I did manage to finish reading my first book, which was The Passengers by John Mars. I actually really enjoyed this book. I went with this book, okay, I enjoyed it, but I think it's still like a 3.5 star read for me. Like, it's not a bad book. It was riveting and everything, but it's definitely not like 4 stars or higher like vibes at all. Like I said already, this book basically follows a bunch of different passengers where suddenly they're on this like self-driving car and now they don't have any control of this car anymore, and 2 hours later they're going to collide with each other and die. And so the whole world is now overseeing like what's happening. They're voting on who gets to die, who gets to live, and there is like this hacker who keeps communicating with this like board of like a jury where their job originally is to look through all these accidents and judge if the cars are responsible for these accidents or if it's something else. And so there's a lot of like political issues in this book about, you know, what is right, what is wrong. There's a lot of discussions about technology and using AI as basically as like a human essentially, and like having a reasoning, and when they're going through accidents they have to like judge like the AI's, it's like the AI's responsibility to kind of judge like if they should go through this accident or they should just swerve or try to prevent it, etc. And it's just interesting to kind of see all of this come to light. I would say there's a lot of plot twists in the end. I didn't expect this one plot twist at the very end. There was one plot twist like towards the middle that I was like, okay, I kind of saw that coming. Like there was something suspect about this one individual and it made sense. And then the book continues, and then there was like 2 plot twists I think at the end where it was like very, very shocking because I didn't expect that. But then once one of them occurred, the plot twist that happened after that one made sense. So there's a lot of like back and forth in terms of like some of them I can see coming, some of them I couldn't see coming, etc. But I did really overall enjoy the book. In the beginning I was a little worried because I was not super invested with it, but then it got like pretty gripping and I became very immersed with what was going on, and I had like my own bias in terms of like who we should save, etc. But like honestly, like at the end of the day I feel like you should save everyone, but they all had some like weird, you know, situations, and it was just kind of fascinating to kind of listen to all of that. But anyways, I am going to continue on with my next book, but I think I might take a break for a hot second because all the books I want to read next I think are all ones I should probably pick up physically. So I am reading another book physically right now, which means that I can't read 2 books physically at the same time. Like my brain does not work that way. So I want to take a break for this readathon for now while I finish up the other book that I am reading, and then I'll come back and then read the rest. But yeah, because everything else are like fantasy, and like, you know, I can't do fantasy on audiobooks. So anyways, okay, so it's been like a week or so since I have last done anything in terms of this reading vlog for this magical readathon, mainly because I haven't picked up anything. I was finishing the series that I was reading for another vlog, which is a Stare at Me series, which by the way is amazing. But since I finished that one, now I picked up the next book for my magical readathon TBR, and that is the Book of Night. This is for the O, which is to read a book that has like a single object or like a single focus on the cover, and this eye or this moon kind of reflects that. I'm only on page 19, so I haven't made a ton of progress so far with this book, but so far I have to say it's really engaging. I'm really enjoying the characters. The writing is very much reminds me of like her other books, but like in a more mature setting, if that makes any sense. But it's very much reminiscent of Holly Black's writing in terms of like the style and the way how she makes her characters, and just the characters themselves. I feel like Charlie Hall, who is the main character in this book, is really fascinating. I'm so curious to learn more about her background and kind of like what she did previously, because there's so much information that alludes to it, like what she did as a con artist and what she did before this time period, that I'm very fascinated by. So I'm really hoping that she dives into her background a little bit more, her history a little bit more. But overall, I'm really enjoying the book and definitely cannot wait to read this. But I'm excited to start this because this is the second book that I'm reading for this readathon, and hopefully I will get to finishing the rest of the books sometime soon. I think after this one I have 5 more books to read, but it's only like August 14th, so I still have half a month left, so I don't think it's too bad. But yeah, that's what I can say for right now. So just jump in quickly and let you guys know that I've been reading. I don't think I updated you guys in the past few days because I've just been reading this book over here, which is Book of Night. I am now on page 232. I've got like 100 or so pages left, maybe less than that, but it's good. I feel like what I said previously still stands. I feel like this book, even though it's very reminiscent of her like writing style and everything, it does have more adult tendencies and like slightly more mature writing. In fact, you know what this really reminds me of? I just thought about this the other day. Is that it really reminds me of Leigh Bardugo's adult fantasy, Ninth House, and just the way how they write their characters, the way how they write their plot. They're nothing alike in terms of the plot or anything, but just their writing style and kind of from how they jumped from YA to adult. I feel like they're just something that is reminiscent of both books, and it's very comparable in a way. So that's just something that I was just thinking of when I was reading this book, that it just had some similarities with Ninth House in like the vibe, in the atmosphere, stuff like that. But obviously the plot is like incredibly different. But that's what I say for this one. Just a really quick update that I've been reading. I haven't really made too much progress of anything else for the most part, because everything else I want to read for this TBR are all fantasies for the most part, and so I just been reading them physically, and since I'm not reading like the fastest right now physically, it's taking me a lot longer. So hopefully I get to finish this book soon. I'm actually supposed to finish this book in like the next 30 minutes or so, because I'm supposed to read this for my book club, and we're meeting in like less than an hour, so I'm not going to finish it by that point. But I feel like I have read enough to kind of know what's going to happen, and enough to like partake in the discussions at least. So there's that in terms of this quick update, but just want to let you guys know what I've been doing. Alright guys, so just wanted to jump in quickly, give us an update, because I have been reading obviously, and I did manage to just finish reading my second book for this readathon, and that is A Book of Night by Holly Black. This was for my single object as focus on cover, a Q and restoration, and I'm happy to say that with the second book I did manage to finish my entire restoration study class, I guess, because I did the O as well as a Q, so I'm very happy about that. Now I'm going to move on to my O in alchemy, and that is going to be Crave by Tracy Wolff. This is supposed to be a book that is on someone's worst list I think I will like, so we'll see how this goes. But I did want to just update you guys in terms of my Book of Night thoughts. So I am going to give this book 4 stars. I think it was really good. I feel like ending was really riveting. Like I felt very engaged. I was to the last like 30-40 pages. I was like, I wanted to finish it, but it was also like super late at night, and I didn't really feel like I was really debating about like staying up and reading the book or going to sleep, and I was seriously considering just staying up, but I know that myself the next day would not be happy if I did in fact stay up, so I ended up going to sleep instead, which probably was the right decision because I am still very tired, but like I think I'd be a lot more tired if I didn't go to bed and end up staying up for the book. But I did really enjoy this book. I did talk about it a lot more in my book club yesterday. Thankfully they finished it. I was the only one who was bad and did not finish it, but we all kind of agreed. I think they all like gave it 3.5 to 4 stars, and I feel like it makes sense. Like, it was good. I really liked the characters. I thought the plot was engaging. I liked the vibe of the story. The ending was really interesting as well. There's definitely going to be a sequel because the way how the book ends, and obviously I've seen Goodreads, there's definitely a sequel, so I'm really curious to see like how Holly Black will continue on with the series and just proceed, because the way how things end, I'm like super curious now. So I'm really excited for it. I don't know why some people have like given it really low ratings. I feel like I've seen on Goodreads yesterday and they were all kind of low, but personally I thought it was a decent book. Like, it was pretty good. It's definitely by no means like similar to The Cruel Prince, because those books for me were just freaking amazing. They're just so good. The characters, the angst, all of that. This one, not the same, but it did have its fair share of like romance in here, its fair share of angst, a lot of like shadowy creatures, and just a lot of things that were happening. And I thought the author did a really good job with just like explaining everything without really telling, but actually like showing it. So I like that overall. So yeah, that's basically all I can say in terms of this quick update. Just want you guys to know that I did end up reading my second book, and now I'm gonna move on to my third book, and hopefully it'll be amazing. I don't know, I was going through like which books to read next, and Crave for some reason just like stood out to me, and I was like, that sounds like it'll be a really freaking good book. So I'm excited, and I'll update you guys later. Alright, so I have not updated you guys in a hot minute, but I did manage to finish some books, and I have actually a big update for this clip because it's been like a while. And I actually did a reading vlog over this weekend to kind of focus on the books that I am trying to read for this readathon, because I have been doing a lot of reading. So I will link that video above and down below if you just want to check that out, since I talked more into detail about those books and I don't want to like reiterate myself in this video. But the first book I want to talk about is Crave, which is by Tracy Wolff. This is a book that I read that is from someone's recommendation, or like someone's worst recommendation that I thought I might like. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I thought it was a fun read, but it's very juvenile, which I kind of knew going into it. But it's not just that, but I just feel like the way how they act and like their responses to each other is so like entertaining. Definitely gives me like throwback Twilight vibes. I don't think I'll be continuing the series. Actually, I will not be continuing on this series. I feel like it's fun, it's a good time, but I don't feel invested with the characters. I feel like I already kind of know where this book will be headed towards, just because of the similarities with Twilight and all the other similar vampire books that I read in my teenage years. So because of that, I just don't feel a need to continue on with the series. That being said though, I did enjoy it. It was more entertaining than I expected. So that is it in terms of Crave. And then for this weekend, which is in the reading vlog I mentioned earlier, I picked up an Enchantment of Ravens, which I give 3.5 stars. It was a fun read as well. I definitely preferred Sorcery of Thrones more than this book, just because I feel like the writing was more mature. I like the characters more, I like the plot more. I just liked the book overall. It's one of my favorite books of all time, like a couple years ago, and it's still probably one of my top books right now. But Enchantment of Ravens, while it was good, while I liked the writing, it's very whimsical and it fit the setting very well, I feel like I was not as engaged with the characters or as connected with them. Not only that, but I felt like the romance was very unrealistic. I didn't really see a lot of interactions between the two of them that seemed like it was any sort of romance. And suddenly the main character is like, you know what, I think I might be in love with the Autumn Prince. And this happens like pretty early on in the book, and you're just like, okay, like, yeah, like you guys have been spending some time together because she's painting her portrait, but that all like journey of her painting his portrait was not really, it was kind of like glossed over. Like it happened in like super speed. It was kind of like the first day or two was kind of mentioned in detail, and then the rest was kind of like, oh, as the days went by I was painting his pictures and blah blah blah. Like, but the actual like interactions between the two of them were not really described. And so for me as a reader, it's like I don't get that sense of romance or any sort of emotional connection between the two characters, because you're just glossing over their entire relationship as they get to know each other. So I think that was kind of my main issue with why I don't think the romance made a lot of sense in this book. That being said, though, the ending was really fascinating. I did like how everything got concluded, and just it was just fascinating to see like all the fairies and what their limitations were with not being able to lie, and the fact that they couldn't craft, aka make anything. So things like cooking and writing and drawing were just out of the question for them, and if they even tried doing it, they immediately disappear into dust, which I thought was super fascinating. So overall, I thought the book was good. It just wasn't as amazing. So that is all I can say for Enchantment of Ravens, and that one I read for the book with Raven in the title or on the cover, and obviously there's both. There's a raven and there's a raven right here, so definitely qualifies for this prompt. And then the second book that I picked up for that video was Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This one I only read a couple pages, like 20 something pages, and I ended up DNFing it. I didn't care much for the writing, I didn't care much for the character. I felt like everything just was really jarring. There's two timelines I followed, and I just went back and forth without any sort of flow, and so I couldn't get into it. And I was like, I rather like, right now, the past year or two, I've been very much a, if it's not interesting to me and it doesn't grab my attention from the beginning, like I'm not going to spend more time reading it, because I literally have so many books to get through that why am I going to spend more time on a book that is unnecessary for me to read? So it's the harsh truth. But that I was supposed to read for the familiar or animal companion, but thankfully because of my guild ability, it still counts for my prompt. And then after that, I moved on to Rabbit and Robot, which I just started today, right over here. This one, okay, I read like 5 pages and immediately was like, no, because this book, it's so bizarre, but like not even in a good, funny way. It's just weird and kind of disturbing. So the first few pages literally is about this guy who encounters a like robotic tiger somewhere, and this tiger for some reason eats pants. So suddenly the main guy's pants is being eaten by this tiger, but not the main dude, just his pants. The guy that he's with, his friend, his pants also gets eaten by a tiger too, the same tiger. And you're just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And suddenly a giraffe appears, and they're like, giraffe, like, oh, you know, this giraffe is bisexual. And then they're like, how do you know this? And the guy's like, oh, I just know this. And then the giraffe starts speaking. I don't know where that came from. And then after that, the giraffe eats the tiger. Like, can someone just explain? Like, this all happens in the first like 3 pages. I just felt so disturbing in that I was like, yeah, this is an immediate no for me. Like, I just don't understand what's going on. It's just like the writing seems very jarring, just bizarre. Like, I have no other words. So that's all I can say for this update. Oh wait, I forgot. One last final update I have for you guys is my last and final prompt, which is to start a book with a drink. So for this one, I just started a book today, and that is By Your Side by Casey West. I did end up picking a drink for this. I was drinking this peach drink that I got from We, which is this like Asian supermarket like app. So that's what I'm reading right now, or listening to right now. And then once I'm halfway done, I have about like 3 hours left, which I'm very excited for, because this book just sounds really cute. It's about this girl who gets trapped in a library. Her friends leaves her. For some reason, like they left her behind. She's not entirely sure what happened. She thought that, you know, they forgot, or they thought that she got into a car, but she didn't. And once they arrive at the destination, they will realize that she's not there, and they go and find her. And for some reason they don't. No one shows up, not her parents, not her friends, like no one shows up and finds out where she is. So she's stuck in this library, and because it's a holiday and it's like freezing in the winter, they are not even open for the next like 3 days. So she's stuck in this library by herself for 3 days with very little like heater, because they turned on the electricity, because there's no use wasting all the electricity and stuff when no one's going to be there. And it turns out she's not alone. There is someone from her high school who is also there, somehow stuck in there with her. And so together the two of them start to like talk and, you know, obviously form a friendship, etc. And she finds out more about him, that he's different than what everyone seems that he is, because right now he's very misunderstood. He has a lot of labels that are not good labels, because right now a lot of people have a lot of misunderstandings about him. They think that he's a criminal, they think he's a druggie, etc. And so as she starts to learn more about him, she realizes that maybe not everything is true, and there's a lot more to him than what everyone thinks. So that's kind of the story is right now. Things happen, like I just got to the part where she found out why Noah went back for her, and I am kind of like shook because I'm like, what are the chances? But yeah, that's kind of all I can say for this update. Like I said, a very long update, very like blabby, but yeah, I definitely can't wait to continue on with this book. And then the next update I probably give you guys will be one where I finish this book, and then I'm gonna go through the quests that she had, because I actually didn't go through any of them, and see if any other books I've read this month will qualify, because I read a lot of other books for this month. It just wasn't part of my main TBR, and I didn't have time to really go through the quest to see, like I did for the other month, to see like what books I can read for each quest, etc. So I'm going to do that in my next update, and then see if I can level up for my guild, because I think I'm missing another like 50 points or something for the next one. I'm not even sure. I do know I get another one for finishing this one, like 50 points. But I want to see if I can like do more from the quest. Hopefully I can do some quests. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, it's already like second to last day. I should know. I still have 2 more days for this month, but still today is almost over. Okay, so just jumping in quickly and give you guys an update, because it is now a couple days into September, and I realized I have not updated you guys and giving you guys my big update in terms of the quest that I did, etc. I definitely feel like I wasn't as involved in this readathon for the month of August. I definitely had a lot more like real life situations going on, etc. And while I still read all the books I was trying to read, I even did some quests at the very end, but I didn't do them like as the month went by. I kind of just looked into them at the very end to see which ones I did fulfill based on the books I did read this month. So I definitely felt like I just wasn't as involved this month, but I'm gonna go through all the books that I read this month for this readathon, as well as the quests that I did and which books I did for each quest. So for the book that I was supposed to read with a drink, I decided to go with By Your Side by Casey West. This was an audiobook that I just finished. I really enjoyed it. Definitely had a good time reading this book. Then for my animal studies, I'm supposed to be reading 3 books. One is Enchantment of Ravens. Then I'm supposed to also read Rabbit and Robot, as well as Nettle and Bone. And if you had watched my magical readathon reading vlog, like the weekend one, which I'll link above and down below in case you want to check that out, I did end up finishing this book during that time, and I somehow ended up DNFing both of these books. So, you know, but at least thanks to my assistant position in my guild, I am allowed to count DNFs as completion. So I did manage to complete this curriculum, even though I feel like I didn't really do a great job. But I did end up enjoying this book quite a bit. Not as much as Sorcery of Thorns though. Then for my O in Alchemy, I picked up Crave by Tracy Wolff. This was too much like Twilight, and while it was very reminiscent and I had some good times reading this book, I don't think I will be continuing on the series. Then for my Q and Restoration, I picked up Book of Night as well as The Passengers. Both books I really enjoyed overall, so I'm very happy that I actually, you know, read these. These are 2 books I actually read for this readathon. And now moving on to the quest that I did. There was a quest where it was to read a book featuring a game. I picked up The Hating Game, which I enjoyed but I didn't love. I think I gave this book 3 stars or something like that. It was just an okay read. I feel like I definitely expected more just because of so many people who had enjoyed this book, and I can definitely say that this book very much read like a movie in my head, even though I have not watched the movie yet. But that's just kind of the image that I got and the vibe that I got. There's another quest that was to read a mystery book, and I picked up 7 Dirty Secrets by Natalie D. Richards. This book, I think I gave this book 3 stars as well. It was an okay read. I feel like the one behind it all was actually pretty obvious halfway through the book, and it just became very cliche at that point, but I still enjoyed like the whole journey of the book. There was another quest where it was to read a book with O, P, or S, and I picked up XOXO by Axio. This was such a cute read actually. I believe I gave this book 4 stars. I don't know, for some reason I feel like there has been an influx of contemporary books set in Korea or Korean inspired or K-drama inspired, like something to do with Korean culture, and I am thriving because they have all just been such fun reads and they're just like really cute. And I don't know, I'm just loving like the food that's being mentioned here, the cultural references, the K-pop, the K-drama, like just so much stuff that's happening in all these books that I really enjoy. So this is another one that I absolutely adored. Another quest that I completed was to read a book with potions or poisons, and I picked up Before the Sword by Grace Lynn. This was such a fast read. I gave this book like 3 to 4 stars. I'm not really sure yet, but this book had a poisonous spider bite, and that's kind of what spurned the whole purpose of this book, because her sister got bitten by a 9-legged spider, and now Mulan had to race off with this magical healer, and now they're going to find the ingredients to make a potion that like the antidote to heal her sister. And so much happens. This is supposed to be before she grows up and becomes the Mulan that we all know, and this is such a fun read. Like I literally read this book so fast, like within a day, I want to say. Like it was just such a quick read. The next quest that I did was Morally Gray Characters, and I decided to go with Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. This book I primarily actually read in July, but I didn't finish it until August, so I count this for my August reading. And this was all Morally Gray characters. I feel like I don't really remember the premise too much, but I just remember all the characters were very sus and definitely a little, I don't know, morally gray for sure. Then the last and final quest that I did was They Went Left, and that was to read a book that was a historical fiction. So this is obviously historical fiction. It's set during World War II, and it follows a girl called Sylvia, where she has now been saved from one of the camps, and now she's on a quest to find her brother, because she knows that her brother is the only one that can possibly have survived the whole situation, because her entire family went left, which was leading them to the gas chambers, and her brother were the only ones who went right. So this whole book just kind of follows her entire journey trying to find her brother, reunite her brother after the whole situation's over, and now, you know, life is trying to get back to normal, and there's so much that happens. I really enjoy this book. I feel like her books tend to be very like serious, which makes sense. It's like set in World War II, but like serious but also hopeful at the same time. So based on the tracker that I have over here, so I believe like if you finish a readathon, it gives you 50 points, and then each guild or quest that you finish gives you 10 points. So that should be 120, which means I now have 290. So that means I am now a revered, where I am consulted on guild matters, and it allows me to change one book to any other you want. Honestly, I feel like the assistant one is better, because that's like a genuine DNF. Like rather than having to pick another book that fulfills the quest or like the prompt, sometimes it's like so hard, because I don't know, sometimes they're very specific and then you can't find another book that, you know, fulfills it. So I personally think that the assistant ability is better than the revered, but I don't know. Either way though, I'm excited to move on to the rank and just become a more prominent member in my guild. So anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know down below how you've done for the magical readathon, and if you've participated, what guild are you in, and what is your current position after everything that happened. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. It really does help on my channel. And if you see more content of me, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below, as well as hit the notification bell. And as always, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.